Ryan Day signs a 3-year extension. What was the hurry?
Keeping NFL teams at bay from trying to steal him and reassuring everybody around Ohio State, including Ohio State recruits, that he wants to be there for a while. I asked him about that. Today was the first day of Ohio State spring football practice. So we got to watch the whole practice, and then we talked to Ryan Day afterward. And I asked him directly about the contract and what he thought the message of this 3-year extension that gave him a pretty nice size raise, too. And he said it was more about the years than the money. That he says, like, my kids are excited, we get to stay here. He was saying that stuff last year, that he wants to be here for the long haul. But that's when he was like some nobody replacing Urban Meyer. Now he's a college football playoff coach. So to him, it does reaffirm a commitment to Ohio State. He originally was on a 5-year deal, so he signed a 3-year extension, so 1 year off the deal that he did. So he's locked up for another 7 years right now. Now, he could leave tomorrow and pay the buyout, but he doesn't want to leave, but this was a reaffirmation in his mind of like, I am not going anywhere, but it doesn't guarantee anything.
What does it make him on the list of highest paid? Saban, then who else?
Yeah, so he went from 4.5 last year. He's making about 5.4 this year, and then it goes to 6.5, then 7.5. So like right now, to make 5.4 this year is still like in the top 20. You know, it's not super high money, but by the time he gets to 7.5, only 2 years from now, there's only like 5 coaches right now making more than 7.5. Now they'll all move up too.
At that point anyway.
But if he keeps winning, Gene Smith, the Ohio State athletic director, is very aware of the market. It's very important to him. He doesn't want to ever have a successful Ohio State coach with like contract stuff in the back of his head. But Ryan Day is never going to leave Ohio State to coach another college team. But when we were talking about the Combine earlier, you look at all those NFL head coaches lined up at the Combine. Young offensive guru, young offensive guru, young offensive guru. You plop Ryan Day right in the midst of them. He fits right in. That's what Ohio State doesn't want to have happen.
Okay, roster changeover. From a fan's point of view, you just get used to these guys, maybe in the middle of their second year, and then they're gone. So let's take a look at the returning players. Of course, you got Justin Fields at quarterback, Chris-Olave, Garrett-Wilson, Luke Farrell, Josh Myers, and Wyatt Davis. You also have the rest on the right. My favorite name of all is Tough Borland. He can play too, can he?
He's a solid college linebacker. I mean, he's kind of like an old school throwback guy. And he did like change his name to Tough. Like that wasn't his birth name, but also that's more than a nickname. He lives that every day.
His real name is Rough?
Yeah. The thing that jumped out today, the guys on that list, Garrett-Wilson was a 5-star recruit at receiver. Today when we saw him, he was playing in the slot, where he was an outside receiver last year. They're replacing KJ Hill in the slot. Garrett-Wilson is a super dynamic guy with the ball in his hands. Ryan Day is excited about him playing inside in the slot. He is going to be a super dynamic dude for them this year.
And here are some names that you do know, if you're at least a casual sports fan or Ohio State fan. Let's take a look at who they lose based on that. J.K.-Dobbins, of course, was tremendous. Way better than anybody thought, right?
Oh, I knew he was that good.
Did you?
Yeah, for real. He had a great freshman year. He got a little sideways as a sophomore. I thought he'd be a 2,000-yard back last year. He's legit.
Might KJ Hill be a Cleveland Brown?
He is Jarvis Jr. So, I mean, when you get to be a good team, you start drafting to replace guys currently on the roster.
Right.
So they don't. He's a slot guy through and through. The Browns don't need him this year, as long as Jarvis is here. But if they don't want to pay Jarvis down the line, he's the next Jarvis.
You see the names on the right, Chase Young and jeff-okudah, Damon Arnett, Jordan Fuller, and Davon Hamilton.
So I asked Ryan Day about this again today. I think on the list of great Ohio State defensive players, Chase Young is arguably the best defensive end ever at Ohio State.
And that's after the 2 Bosas?
And that's how good Chase Young is. And Jeff-Okudah is arguably the best cornerback they've ever had. And that's after Denzel Ward and Marshawn Lattimore and all these great guys. So there has to be a drop-off. Ohio State always has the next great player ready to replace the great player who just left. But there is nobody in that building who right now and in 2020 will be Chase Young or Jeff-Okudah.
When you make a statement like that, I think of the running back situation. That running back should be a prime thing for Ohio State, all the Heismans, and all the success and the opportunities where they only basically, except in blowouts, they're using one guy. Why is it so hard to get that one guy?
It's just been a little hinky in recruiting. They've missed on a couple guys. I thought it was weird, too. It's only been like 2 classes where they sort of missed at running back, but they had a kid who was here who was a top 100 guy who had some off-field issues and left. They're really leaning on Master Teague, and Marcus Crowley is a young guy who's hurt and didn't practice today. They're short. They're short at running back, and they have to get a big-time recruit for this class. But for this year, I think they might be okay if their running back is good because Justin Fields at quarterback is so good. Their offensive line is going to be awesome, and the receivers are really dynamic. But that is probably the number one question on the offense is replacing J.K. Dobbins, and can their running game at least be pretty decent?
Where was practice, outside or inside?
Inside. In their
Nice.
big, giant indoor facility that's like bigger than the Browns. For the amateurs.
Well, yeah, in fact, that's one of the problems with the Browns. You know, the Browns, the field ends at the 20-yard line out in Berea. I don't know if you've noticed that. So that's why they have red zone problems.
Oh.
If they had 100 yards, they'd be...
You drop a quickie on it?
It goes from the one goal line to the 20. Well, they don't know how to finish.
Yeah. Yeah,
You play the way you practice.
Yeah, Demetrius Harris is standing against the wall as a red zone target.
2-1